Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to Girls That Manifest. On this show, I will teach you how to manifest an expansive and extraordinary life beyond your wildest dreams. We will go deep on all things mindset, manifestation, law of assumption, spirituality, and metaphysics. I can't wait to bring you this content. So grab your matcha, mimosa, or macchiato and let's get into the show. I love a good success story. I love hearing about someone's journey, what they went through, what they overcame, the breakthroughs that they had, and the inevitable outcome of them getting what they wanted. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk specifically about law of assumption success stories from Hollywood. Very exciting stuff, right? But before we get into that, I just want to let you know about a sale that I am running at the moment. It is called the Big Move Sale to celebrate the fact that I am moving next week to a new city and a new home, and I'm very, very excited about it. So what we've got in the sale, you can get up to 50 to 90% off my digital courses and workshops. And in this sale, we have products that will help you make more sales from digital products and services, help you set clear boundaries in your business, help you to learn to monetize your mind, monetize your skills, monetize your knowledge, as well as, of course, manifesting money, abundance, and riches. So if that sounds like something you are looking for, make sure you head to the description box below and check out the sale before it ends on June the 4th. Now that's out of the way, let's get into today's episode. So the reason I wanted to talk about this particular topic of law of assumption success stories is because I want to start bringing in more success stories to you about the law of assumption. And so a few weeks ago, I happened to be on YouTube watching, those most iconic roles that different actors do. And I came across Christian Bale's one. And he was talking about his role in American Psycho, which, if you've seen it, it's like a satire on the world of Wall Street in the 80s. And he was talking about how he wound up getting this role. So at the time, he was relatively unknown as an actor. I think this must have been the role that kind of put him on the map. And when he went into audition for the role, the way he chose to approach it was different from how other actors were doing it. And so it made the director have an immediate connection with him, and they got along really well. And so even though the financiers of the film were like, no, we want like bigger names, we want this to this role to go to someone that the world already knows, the director was like, no, I want Christian. And so he got the role, and because he was unknown, they didn't get as much money to produce the film. So they went through this process of like trying to raise money to make the film. I don't really understand the whole complexities of making a film, but they did it. They got the money. But what happened next was that they basically got kicked out of doing the film. And the bigwigs, the ones who were paying for the film, the making of the film, I guess, they decided that they wanted to hire a more well-known actor. And even though this was disappointing, Christian said that he decided, nah, I'm still making the film. We're still making the film. It's going to happen. So I'm going to keep preparing for it. So he literally kept preparing for the film, for the role, even though the role had gone to someone else and the director was someone totally different. He was like, nope, I'm still making it. And even the director who hired him called him up and said, look, Christian, they've given it to other people. We're not making this film. And he said, yeah, it doesn't matter though. We're still going to make it. We're still going to make it. And he went and turned down new projects that were coming to him because he knew he was making this film. And even his friends were like, mate, what are you doing? What are you doing? But he just kept persisting in the fact that he was American Psycho. This was his film. This was his role. And then guess what? He got it. He got the role. And he also got the director who hired him back to work on the film. Isn't this such an amazing testament to persistence? Persisting in the end, persisting in your desired outcome. This is totally brazen impudence as well, where you're just like, no, this is happening. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what people are saying. I don't care what has happened and what is fact out in the 3D right now. This is still mine and this is still happening. Let me ask you something. How often have you been that certain in the outcome for yourself? How often have you lived and breathed the end result of what you desire, even though nothing shows you that it's happening? Nothing is showing you in the 3D, the physical reality, that this is yours. In fact, everything is going against you. People are even saying, like, dude, what are you doing? You're delusional. You're acting crazy. It's not happening. It's over. How much have you still persisted, even in spite of all that external resistance, obstacles, objections? How often have you persisted? This is really a perfect example of what it truly means to live in the end and to be faithful to your desire, faithful to your wish, faithful to the fulfillment of it. So if you haven't been doing that, I hope this success story is a perfect example to you of how, in the end, you need to be if you really want it to manifest. You have to live there. You have to be faithful to it. And Christian Bale totally was. And so he got American Psycho. And then, of course, from that, he became one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. And that was because he decided that that role was his. Now, moving on to another success story. I'm sure by now you have seen the movie Barbie, but if you haven't, you should definitely check it out because it's an iconic movie. But this story is to do with Greta Gerwig, who is the director, manifesting Ryan Gosling in the role of Ken. So he wasn't actually interested in the role at all. He didn't want to do the role of Ken for a very, very long time. But periodically, he would ask his agent who got the part, just out of curiosity, who got the part? And the agent would reply, well, Greta says you're doing it. The director says you're doing it. So it's you. And then when he finally agreed to take the role on, he actually said something like, Greta believed I was doing it more than I believed I wasn't. And that's why I wound up doing it. And then you've seen the success he's had from that film. Didn't he just win an Oscar for his song in the film? And I'm pretty sure he was like, what the fuck? When the camera zoomed into his face, it kind of seemed like he was still unconvinced that he was doing the film, even though it had already been done. Which is pretty amazing on Greta Gerwig's part to manifest the exact actor she wanted to do the role, even though he didn't. Which also goes to show and points out that you can actually manifest the outcomes you want involving people, right? You can change the dynamics in relationships. You can change the dynamics in what people are doing with you or not doing with you. You can change it all when you decide it is done. Another success story I want to talk about is Britney Spears. So I haven't read her book, but apparently it's really a really good read. So if you love reading autobiographies, definitely check her book out. But in it, there's two parts actually, where she says that if she was going to manifest one thing, it was going to be her freedom from the conservatorship she was entangled in, right? And from that day onwards, she put all her effort into daily prayer and imagined doing stimulating artistic things, all while her physical reality was unbearable. And she said that her fans were able to perceive her suffering way before she even spoke about it. And their Free Britney campaign kind of gave her that final push she needed to persist in manifesting breaking out of that conservatorship, which is incredible. When she talked about that conservatorship, she said, I was treated like a criminal and they made me think I deserved that. They made me forget my self-worth and my value. And of all the things they did, I will say the worst was to make me question my faith. I never had strict ideas about religion. I just knew there was something bigger than me. Under their control, I stopped believing in God for a while. But then when it came time to end the conservatorship, I realized one thing. You can't fuck with a woman who knows how to pray. Really pray. All I did was pray. And when we move this over to law of assumption, there is no stopping the person who can think from the end. The person who has decided what they want is now their reality. They're getting it no matter what. It will happen or it has happened. Nothing can stop that person. Nothing can stop them once they've decided. And so this was just incredible for Britney. Our next success story is Mariah Carey. So she actually credits her success to religion. But the way she believed in the possibility and pure certainty that she'd be the biggest star in the world, just like Marilyn Monroe. Wow, we know how that went, right? Her circumstances in life would have people expecting 100% that she'd never make it. But she didn't care. She held faith and devotion in her dream. and she consistently visualized herself being more successful than her idols, as well as imagining all the things she'd buy with the wealth she had earned. And she went a step further, and she even carried herself as the superstar she knew herself to believe she was. She was there. She had fully conformed into the new identity. She had changed her self-concept. She didn't see herself as almost as good as her idols. She didn't see herself as good as her idols. She saw herself better than her idols. Like if we talk about business, how much have you compared yourself to the other people in your industry, your competitors? How much have you compared yourself to them and decided that you don't measure up, that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes? That getting to their level is going to be really impossible or a really long slog uphill battle. How many of you have decided that? And yet Mariah Carey is over here thinking, I'm better than my idols. And she actually is. Moving on to our next success story, Jim Carey. I'm sure you've heard of this many, many friggin' times, where he wrote himself a check for $10 million. I think he was on Mulholland Drive, and he had decided that I am going to be a famous actor who makes $10 million a film. And one of the films he did, it must have been one of the earlier films he did, he made $10 million from that film. Another success story is Lady Gaga. So she's said that she believes in affirmations and acting as if. And she also said that she used to think of herself as being a global pop star, even when she was just, an ordinary, unknown girl from New York. And she used to affirm that she'll make #1 records, that she'll be globally famous. And she would imagine herself on billboards in New York and see them while she was walking around the city. And she said, it was a lie, but I told myself it was true until it became true. She again persisted in her desired result. Everything was that she was there. We have another success story about Vivien Leigh. So Vivien Leigh was an actress famous for her role as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. If you have seen it, it is very old, but it's a good film. It's a classic. So whether you've read it or you've watched it, Vivien Leigh was the actress who played it. And when she read Gone with the Wind, she knew that she was going to play Scarlett. She became absolutely obsessed with the idea of getting the role. And she was so sure that she even gave out copies of the book to her fellow actors on the opening night of one of her shows at the theater that she was in. And she said, I wanted to play Scarlett right from the first time I read the book. That was in London when I was appearing in a flop play. I fell in love with the novel and I gave copies of the book as opening night presents. I told everyone, if I ever go to Hollywood, it will be to play in Gone with the Wind. And they all laughed and said I was crazy. And no one was casting that role for 2 years after that. Not even the biggest names of that particular era. And she was completely unknown in America at that time because she was British. And she definitely didn't have a southern accent. But she was so convinced that she would be cast. And a series of events, a bridge of incidents, all unfolded for her to get that role. Because as we know, she did. And she did it very well. So there are some amazing success stories from Hollywood actors, Hollywood singers, that clearly show you that when you have a desire and you persist in the fulfillment of it, it must come true. When you are the person who has what you desire, even when nothing is showing in the physical reality yet, but you are still embodied in your certainty and you know without a doubt this is happening, it will happen. Your assumptions will harden into fact. You have seen what it truly means to be faithful to your wish fulfilled through what these actors and actresses and singers have all done and created for themselves through their own imagination. There is nothing saying that you can't do the same as well. Nothing is stopping you. You have everything you need right now to be as great, if not greater, than these people were and are in your field or whatever it is you want to be great in. You have the ability to do it. So it's time to get serious. It's time to be clear about what you want. Persist in that wish fulfilled. Be brazenly impudent and completely faithful to that end. Okay, my lovely, that is it from me today. Once again, The big move sale is on. It's ending on June 4th. Head to the link in the description box below to grab yourself an amazing deal. Also, if you want to have a very cool place to hang out and talk manifestation and law of assumption, come and join the Girls That Manifest Facebook group. Link is also in the description box below. And if you love this episode and you love this podcast, make sure you subscribe and leave a review, and I will see you in the next episode.